Okay, here we go. When I switch programs, it zooms out whatever I have in Discord, so
Yep.
I can see more stuff around me.
Now you're good, and we are live. So you are hanging out live right here on Make an Awesome Podcast. Some people may not know the man, the myth, the legend, Wekster. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you did, and as long as you love me?
Oh, I mean, I didn't know that we were gonna talk about me. Okay.
No, you're actually the host, and I'm the subject.
Okay, so tell me something about your life.
I have this really
No.
cool friend who makes amazing 3D models, and I tend to basically 3D print everything that he makes. His name
Cool.
is
So
Fotis Mint, and he'll be a guest at some
I
point
I
soon.
I I knew you were gonna go that way.
No, honestly, we love Fotis. Fotis is great, but we have Wekster right here in the flesh, hanging out with us late night for you, buddy.
Well,
The
it's not late yet. It's only 10 p.m., so it's fine.
My mom,
But
if,
where?
if my mom lived in your time zone, she would have been in bed 3 hours ago. Okay, it's late. It's
Oh,
late for some people.
so she's like my wife. Okay, she went to bed around 9.
Introduce
So
yourself, buddy.
okay, I'm. My actual name is Vedran. I'm from Croatia, and I sculpt stuff. I do geeky stuff. I do pop culture models. I do uh, mini dudes like this one. Yeah, let's do that. I work as a director of TV commercials. I do game trailers. I do a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you seem.
Except around the house, I don't like to do that.
So is that the excuse then? Right? You're working hard on models. You can't do housework.
Well, I mean, I would love to say that, but my wife knows it's a BS, so I cannot do that.
When you use the same excuse for too long, they're like, "You might be full of crap, but
Yeah,
I'm
like
not certain."
I say I need to finish a trailer, and I go downstairs in the office, and then she sends me a message. I can hear a guitar, and I'm like, oh shit.
Busted.
Yeah. I mean, she has a ear for those weird sounds that that my guitar makes, and that's annoying thing. If something is out of tune, she freaks out. So
She's got the ear for your shenanigans, basically.
oh
But honestly, that is the making of a great significant other, right? When they have the ear for your shenanigans and they can call you out. So I call my significant other my better three quarters. Is she your better three quarters or the better half?
oof. I don't know if she's watching this or not. She's awake. Definitely, 3/4, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
And you have a cat. I've seen the cat a few times. We hang out in
One,
your Discord.
it's summer.
Yeah, they're cats. They're aloof. I've got the stunt double here today. Our Victoria's off doing important stuff. And if you're wondering how the hell do you hang out with this amazing guy often, you should go join his Patreon, and that way you can become a Discord member. Links will be in the description. So make sure you go support Wekster here.
Or not.
No, do it. It's fun. Go come hang out with us. We you know, we hang
Yeah,
out.
we are there 3-4 times per week, I would say.
At least. At least.
Mostly weekends. Yeah.
Now, you're obviously a professional 3D modeler, but how did you get to this? How long have you been in the industry? What was it like getting started?
Well, I don't like to call myself professional in any way. like for anything I do, I always think that I'm just playing around, having fun, and learning. And I guess maybe that's a part of my process, but I don't. I'm always thinking that I need to advance, that I need to do better, and I always look at myself as an amateur. And right now I'm amateur for, I think, 4 years. Actually, it's probably not even 4 years now. Like few days ago, it was 4 years since I got my first printer. And at the beginning, I was because I was doing short films, and I really love movies. I I was printing props, so I was printing other people models. Only a few months later, I started doing my own, like I started doing Nerf guns, trying to make printable Nerf guns, like Thirst Zapper from Fallout,
Mm-hmm.
and one of ray guns from Rick and Morty, and then I started learning more fusion. And at one point, I figured out that maybe I could do something more organic with that. I mean, fusion for me, it was like, when it comes to sculpting, it was software where you should avoid to
And
try to do anything like that. At least everyone was telling me that, but then I wanted to see, can I actually do something more organic, and that's how I created my mini dudes. I created them in Fusion, and because I wanted to make something really simple, something that people can print easily. It something that doesn't take a lot of time, because I'm one of those impatient guys. I need to do stuff quickly,
mm-hmm.
and I want to see the progress immediately. And 3D printing is really, I mean, it was really slow. Uh, so I didn't want to wait for 5-6 hours for something. So I created those that you can make print in 2.5, 3 hours.
I do like that. There are some weeks where I'm like, oh, we need a time lapse. All right, let's find a cool mini dude. Let's do it, because they always look good. They need basically no support, and with the right colors, that work well with the model. I mean, they just pop. The mini dudes for me are a lot of fun. I am trying to find one that we like the most. This latest one that you just released, the Bowie one. I think
Ah,
that might
okay.
be our new sample model that we do for all of our colors.
Woo.
Yeah, it's a really really good model. And I like their simplicity, right? Because you put lots of detail into the face, the body, and the legs. Yeah, there's a little bit there. It helps tie it together, but that detail's kind of all in the face. And for those that haven't spent time doing sculpting based modeling, or even parametric modeling on a sculpting side, as a less surfaces and solids and more free flow sculpting, it is a lot more difficult than people think. They think, "Oh yeah, it
Well,
must be easy." No, it's not. Can you talk about like that
uh,
learning process for you?
for me, it is easy. Uh, for I would say for people who are much more talented than I am, it's also easy, because they can recognize some features and apply that. Uh, like uh, you really need to learn some basics of like what makes space, what makes some characteristics, like something that you can just apply and is gonna look like that. Like at the beginning, I was choosing characters that are easy to identify. You know, Hellboy, Jason, Batman, that kind of stuff. Then
Right.
I started experimenting with other stuff to see how much uh, details can I add. Um, can like some people try to replicate what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
and their mistake was that they started adding way too much stuff on it, because this model, they need to be simplified. So you cannot just add six pack and so many features that you can see in on a normal Batman or something. It just looks really complicated. But there are few people who showed me what they did, and I was actually really happy because they actually nailed that. Fernando did few. Um, there's one guy from Germany that just joined our Discord. He started doing some of his, and they're really cute. So yeah, I think a lot of people can do that when they spend a lot of time actually learning what makes them tick, I would say.
And it's fair. The level of understanding that is required to kind of keep it in the same uh, atmosphere, right, for the model itself,
Mm-hmm.
it is more complicated than one might initially assume. How do you get into those, like that process of, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna make a mini dude? Where does that inspiration come from? Because you've not just done mini dudes, you've done some amazing pieces. Like this was the Peacemaker bust. This thing was gorgeous, and then you did the helmet as well. So
Oh yeah,
you released the raw helmet itself. There's got to be
I
some
cannot fit it on
inspiration.
my head, but it's here.
Well, we saw the real Peacemaker model it in your house, your daughter. Uh,
Yeah.
it, that was hilarious. I and then was it Chief that
No,
photoshopped
no,
your
no,
face into it?
no. It was it was something else. It was 3D monkey.
Oh,
Uh,
monkey, yeah.
yeah, he likes to do refaces of my face, and I think I have like 150 different versions of me. Like at one point, I was just like it was crazy. Him and Karen from my Discord, they were constantly using that app and applying like faces to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sending it to my wife until she said, "Stop, please stop! Don't! I'm gonna like block you on Facebook. Stop doing that stuff, please."
Just embarrassed by association. Is that how it went?
Well, you know, I like to force humor sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and she really doesn't appreciate that, which makes it so much better for me. So I do it until she gets pissed. Then I need to run away and
That's a way
lock
to do it
myself
too.
here. Yeah, I mean this is the only room that has a lock for my protection, for my own safety.
Yeah, it's on the outside, right? So they can lock you out of the rest of the house. Is that
No, no, no,
is that the goal?
it's me, and I need to have an exit just in case if she breaks the door down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I we went sideways, so I really don't remember what was exactly the question.
No, just
Uh,
how kind of you transition, because Fusion 360 is more kind of known for its parametric modeling, right? Make a box, put a hole in it, put things in the box, surprise people. Anyways, how did you get into that transition from Fusion 360? Did you go into Blender then ZBrush, or did you decide, I'm just gonna go try ZBrush and hate myself for a little bit?
so first two mini dudes that I did, those were Hellboy and Jason, and they were relatively like simple, like and when you're drawing something, you start with the basic shapes. When you are making a face, you make a sphere, you divide it in half, then you position eyes and all of that. So like you can create a lot of things with just regular shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started looking at what I can do with the first one. And all of these shapes worked well in Fusion. But then I started doing some other characters that actually needed a hair, and I couldn't do hair in Fusion. So I had installed Sculptris, which was like a free version that
Yep.
came out from the same company that makes ZBrush.
Yep.
And I started doing that, but I stayed away from ZBrush because uh, I I felt so dumb every time I tried to use ZBrush. It was like insane because I was using for business some other 3D software like 3ds Max
Yeah.
and Maya. I didn't learn a lot. I learned only basics that I needed for my projects,
Mm-hmm.
and ZBrush was completely like it was a nightmare. And then I told myself, okay, this thing will not beat you. Let's try to do something. So I spent a bit of time, and actually my coworker, um, he also was kind of learning it. So he showed me the basics, and I I started doing more and more there. There were less limitations than I had in sculptures. So I was still doing mostly like simple stuff, hair, some props, and then I would send that to Fusion
Into
to
Fusion, yeah.
finish. Um, but the more I was working both softwares, I I started disliking Fusion because I couldn't do everything. It was like you had to think a lot in advance what you can do to model. Not now. To be fair, Fusion again is much better than when I started. So now I would probably be able to do more stuff with less limitation than I had 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But like I really wanted to learn ZBrush. I wanted to see what are my options, and for a very long time I was jumping between those two. um, I even like I went to do some stuff in ZBrush, and then a few times I went back to Fusion just to like, okay, let's start it over. Let's give another shot to Fusion, because I started doing multi-material models
That
at that
is
time.
changed a lot since you started. You used to have to make
Yeah,
individual STL files and export them, right?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I still do that uh, for my mini dudes and some other stuff. Luckily, slicers are now getting more advanced, so people can paint their own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which will make my life easier, definitely. Uh, but it's like with Fusion, you had everything already sliced almost perfectly. So I just had to export and combine two elements. With with uh, with ZBrush, I had to use booleans. I had to separate models, and it's like much harder. Even today, like I did the dude mini dude, and
Yes.
I started separating the model, and I send it to Bob so he can test it. And while I was looking in slicers, I've noticed that the like some layers are way too thin, so they are like colors are bleeding into
Right.
each other,
Yeah.
like. And that kind of mistake will, I will have to rewind and erase almost an hour of work and start redoing stuff. And it's like it's really killing my mood. And when I'm sculpting stuff, I can do stuff pretty quickly, but to prepare it for 3D printing, that's when my nightmare starts.
That is fair. I tried ZBrush 4R6, so that would kind of tell you date
Mhm.
wise when I tried it. I looked at it and said, "Who the hell thinks this UI makes sense? Why is
Yeah,
file in the middle? It should be in the top left like it is in every program." But Pixelogic, in their vast amount of understanding and knowledge of what everybody apparently wants, makes the menus alphabetical. And if that pisses you off, don't even try ZBrush.
I
That just scratches the surface as to some of the really odd quirks. Now, it's gotten better for 3D printing, correct? Because it originally was not made for 3D printing at all. It was for
no.
straight 3D modeling. So a lot of those workarounds that you had to do, have they gotten better, or are you still
Yeah,
finding
I mean,
yourself
I
the
mean
old ways?
they add a bunch of features, but they already add most of that when I started using ZBrush. And I mean, it wasn't a big deal even before. Like, you would export OBJs and then you would convert it with some other software. That was really no issue. The logic that ZBrush has, it's completely different than any other software, that 3D software that I'm using, and it has its own logic, and I actually love it. I mean, I'm using what, probably 20 different softwares like per week for what I do, and ZBrush is one of those that you can like, you can only use few um, controls on a keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gonna be enough. It's so good. Like you can have like by pressing different combinations of keys, it's gonna give you so much more options.
Right.
I mean, um, uh, there are other softwares that do that. Uh, I I I was learning Blender like a year ago or 2 years ago, and again, Blender was completely different for me than Maya or 3ds Max, or I was even using Modo.
Ooh.
So it was like, again, adjusting, but after you know few days, it was so good. I don't make mistakes now when I switch between those. It feels so natural. It's weird, but like a lot of us cannot accept change at the beginning, and that's our biggest problem.
It's true. Yeah.
I know when I switched from you know uh, tablet, when I got my first graphic display, for me it was so weird to adjust that, because now I'm looking in a completely different
Yeah,
way
you're
of
you're
stuff.
you're looking down as you're
Yeah,
drawing
but
instead of looking up.
and it's funny. It should be so much better immediately. But my mind is telling me, no, no, this is not right. Right, go back, go back. Like,
I I feel the exact same way. Something I've always wanted to see is some sort of, VR style sculpting, like ZBrush in VR, but it has to have haptic feedback so you can feel what you're doing. Because I don't I this whole process of translating from a pen to a screen, but you're not just drawing, you're 3D drawing, never really clicked with me. And I know that over time it probably could, but you
yeah.
have an artistic background. You're not starting from a non-artistic background. You do a lot of work in film. This is correct, right?
Well, no, I mean, I was doing short films for, I I I direct TV commercials, so no, it's slightly different. I don't do featured movies. I did a bunch of short films when I was younger. Basically, when I stopped that, I started 3D printing. So
Well, I've seen some of your work. We've seen some of the stuff coming out of Trailer Squad, which you are a co-founder of.
yeah.
Can you talk about that as well? Kind of how those skills overlapped, or if there was a value that you were taking out of the video production industry into the 3D modeling industry.
Well, I mean, you know how they say that you learn stuff through life, like there, you know, there's always something that you can pick somewhere. So when I think about where I am right now, and I rewind my life, it's like I started drawing when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading a lot of comic books, watching a lot of movies, and uh, I got exposed to all of that, and I was just absorbing everything. I wanted to to draw characters. I was playing with toys, and basically I was directing them. I was like as a kid, you play, you're imagining your own movies.
Right.
With comic books, I learned how to do um, um, like composition, uh, in a lot of comic books
Mm-hmm.
that we had in Europe. We didn't have Marvel stuff or DC stuff. Uh, we had mostly Italian comic books that you guys probably haven't even heard in America. Um, I know because there was a movie, Dylan Dog, that came out, I would say 10 years ago, and no one knew about it, and I was super excited until I've seen who's gonna play it. And but like it's like with every step I tried to learn something and apply it. So eventually I started doing my own comic books, and then I started working for a guy who was doing comic books. I started, uh, spending more time with some comic book artists from my city, and you know, uh, I was interested in photography at one point,
Hmm.
so I was able to apply all of that that I've learned to that. Then I just added more frames. Started creating that, and in somewhere in the middle, I think it was 97 or something, I started playing with Adobe Premiere,
Okay.
and I was having fun combining different trailers into one. Yeah,
Ah.
that's how I started figuring out the logic behind that. And I was always dreaming about creating my own movie or something. Like when you see all of those things, like when you see behind the scenes on movies like Lord of the Rings or something, you really want to be in that world. You think that's the best thing in the world, but when you start doing it, it's actually not. It's very boring. You always have to wait for someone. It's so annoying. But when you're doing short films, you have your own crew, friends. You're just having fun. The only enemy that you have is time of the day, especially if you're shooting towards night and the light starts changing. But you're just enjoying the progress, and you surround yourself with people that appreciate what you do, which
Yeah.
is really important. Uh, uh,
Wait, so why do
you
you
know,
have everybody in that Discord? I swear half of the conversations are literally, there's one going on right now where someone posted a gorgeous hand painted model and people are like, do worse next time. You make the rest of us look terrible. I'm like, but they're everyone is good friends in there. So the, it's just kind of understood that, yeah, we're gonna rag on each other. It is a big part of the community though, right?
well, I mean, I like to surround myself with uh, good and weird people, but
Oh, we've got one of those checked off.
yeah, uh, I mean, it's life is so much easier that way. With 3D printing, I've I was able to meet so many people around the world that I was staying off internet. I was just focused on my stuff before, but
Hmm.
through Discord, to this community, I've met so many cool people, and it's like it's great. Sometimes uh, we help each other, like like just being next to someone who is good can do a lot of good for you.
Right.
Like
Oh yeah.
it, it's
It's
it's always so much better. Like mental health, definitely when it comes to that, you need to have people who are decent. But that's where the weird part is. Like it's additional great thing, because it makes everything so much better. And few of those are there in the chat.
I was gonna say, and then there's Fred.
Yeah, I was looking at photos, but okay.
We got to get POTUS on here too, and oh, it'd be funny to have you
Well,
and
wait, you
POTUS.
you you have photos next to you.
I do. Yes. Okay. Yep. We here we POTUS is now on the stream.
Yeah, I mean rotate so you can see his little butt.
Oh yes, yes. So this was for POTUS's birthday. Wekster did this up, and a lot of us printed it out. We all tagged him on Twitter at midnight. And we said, all right, we're gonna do him like every 30 seconds for the first like 10 minutes of his birthday. So he's getting a bunch of tags of the mini dude. Um, it was dumb fun, and I really really enjoyed that piece. That was a lot of fun to do that, and you gotta
Yeah,
have the butt.
yeah. So you were talking about VR and like sculpting in 3D. Um, it it's interesting, like because like you need to rotate a lot. You need to figure out how everything looks from
It's true.
every side. Uh, because sometimes I just focus on front, then I rotate the model, and it's like what happened there? It's like slammed the wall. Um, but like a few years ago, I started because we in Trailer Squad we had to do a lot of VR trailers, so we
Okay.
got all the equipment, and I started having fun. I was still doing a lot for my YouTube channel, so I started experimenting with sculpting software in VR, and it's like it's really great because it changes your perspective because you can sculpt around yourself, and like you can do stuff in 3D on a computer, but it's still flat. It's still 2D for you.
Right.
But when you grab a tool and you just move it around yourself, and there's something happening, it's a completely different
Yeah.
experience. And then one day I was sculpting. I tried to sculpt something. I mean, it wasn't that easy at the beginning to sculpt anything in in any of VR software. But I was trying to make a Rick from Rick and Morty,
Uh-huh.
and like you're scaling the model you putting in front of you, and at one point I'm like trying to sculpt his ass, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? It's, I mean, I thought the same thing when I was sculpting that little Fotis butt.
I'm doing what? And I agreed to this? What
I mean,
decisions have I made that got me to this point, right?
to be
Narrator, so
fair,
you may have
to
wondered
be
how I
fair,
got here.
Fotis did the same thing to me. He made
It's
a
true.
little butt crack on my model.
That's true. I love that relationship between you guys. The both of you have really great communities, and it is always good to see people who are effectively competitors also being incredibly good friends. You guys are constantly poking fun at each other, and
Oh, we are not speaking at all. No, we hate each other.
well, that that
Uh,
that that does happen.
yeah,
But you had a collab recently where you guys worked on the same piece. I should have had
yeah,
it handy, but it's out on our main set, the Squid Game bust, where
yeah.
you had put all the time into. I think my dad stole it. My Squid Game mask. I made the full size one. I'm pretty sure he stole it from me. Yeah, I don't see it, so I assume my dad stole
I
it from
have it
me.
somewhere. It's somewhere, unless my kid took it. I don't know.
That is the problem with your models. They're so damn good. They tend to sprout legs
Well,
and walk away from here.
to be fair, I mean, for the Squid Game, when all that thing
Mm-hmm.
happened, I mean, Squid Game was everywhere. I did a mini do it, but I was really interested in making that mask, and it looked kind of easy to do. And then I've seen in one episode that it's actually folding, and I haven't seen anyone doing that. And I was like, okay, I need to do that. So I spent some time making that, and I released it, and it was really well accepted. And then Fotis asked me like, do I want a collaboration? And I feel bad because he did most of it. Like I just gave him the mask, and he did everything. I I'm still saying that it's technically a collaboration, but all the credit should go to him. He did most of the work. I only complained about some stuff that he tweaked it, and then that's all. I mean, yeah, like when you're sculpting stuff, in a lot of cases, someone else needs to point something out because you're too focused on that thing, and it doesn't work sometimes. So having some tweaks. I think it was like really minor thing. I think that I told him to change a bit of
Mm-hmm.
shoulders or something like that, but I really didn't do a lot of it. He did most of the work, so he should take all the credit.
It really was a really great piece. I wish I had a color more accurate to the Squid Game color. I do now. I have the blood red glitter from Printed Solid, but back then all I had
Mm.
was the translucent metallic rose gold from Atomic, which was distinctly the wrong color because it didn't show anywhere near the detail that both you guys put into that part, because that part was very, very high detailed. And that is something that I've noticed is you do spend a lot of time making sure that like the detail is there. It's never going to show up in camera because this red, for some reason, my camera does not like this red. But there is all the detail on Peacemaker's shirt, the detail in the helmet. It's all there. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, but you know what?
It will show up. Let's see.
Like sometimes I would wish to spend more time on each model so I can make separation. And like for example, if you print model this size,
yeah,
you will kind of see that there are some kind of texture, but you really need to print it big, so I like or really small layer height so you can actually see some
you
details.
got a resin print.
And yeah, resin print is definitely so much better. And other problem, if you're doing something like this or a bit bigger, you're putting a lot of work on your printer for nothing. Like it's prolonging print time, and sometimes I feel bad about it. Sometimes I'm a real dick. So like when I was doing Sam from Trick or Treat, I actually put a hidden model inside the bag of the character, that like the bag that the character is holding.
Okay.
And that for a long time, so much. Like and you can see it only for like maybe half an hour while that thing is printing, and after that it's gone. But I only did that version.
I'm gonna have to find that then, because that'd be kind of cool to show on a time lapse. I know we never did Sam from Trick or Treat. We never did do that. But and I only recently found you and your models, and then I kind of got to know the man behind the models, and that has been rewarding, right? Because a lot of times when you support people on Patreon, it's like, here are some models, I'll see you in a month, see you later. But you have spent, and you spend a ton of time building a community. And it was up until last night that I always thought your last name was Wekster. Now I know it's not. So how did the nickname come? What is it from? Bob told me, I'm like, I'm fairly certain his last name is Wekster. It is everywhere. That is, it's your first name, what I thought was your middle name, and then your last name. I'm like,
no.
Bob's like, no, that's not right.
In Croatia, we don't have those kind of names. Everything ends with ich or something close to that. I mean, the nickname was kind of it was a stupid thing. It's like we were watching Dexter's Laboratory at the time.
Okay.
And one of my friends just started, calling me. He just combined Dexter and Vedran into Wekster, and that was it. One of those names that just stick. So they were calling me like that, but I got used to that, but I never put that nickname anywhere until people started recognizing my other work, photography, music videos, short films. And in my city, there was a news reporter with same first and last name. And even when I was talking to that newspaper company, they always thought that I was the newspaper guy, so they were sending me wrong stuff.
Oh gosh.
And then I started adding the nickname to that whole thing, so I was disconnected from that. And at one point they forgot my name. They started calling me Wekster, and
it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I would never call myself that. For me, it's like ridiculous. But when a lot of people start saying that, it's like, okay, I guess I am. It's like GIF and gifting.
No, no,
Sometimes you
no.
just need to
Choosy
give up.
moms choose GIF. I will stand by this for a while, okay? Choosy moms choose GIF. GIFs are animated images that we use to express ourselves without actually typing on the internet, okay? There's a difference. And I don't care what the creator said.
No,
I reject the
I,
reality and
I,
substitute Mario.
I said like when it comes to GIF and GIF, it doesn't matter what creator named it. What matters is how like everyone else is saying that, because majority wins. It's always like that. Sometimes you need to adjust.
It's true.
Even my mom at one point started calling me Wekster, and that was the I think that was the breaking moment. That's I said, okay, I just give up.
I did not know. I just I am used to calling people by whatever their name is, right? So
Yeah.
to me, your name was always Wekster. I didn't know that it was Wedrin, and it was just funny to me. I'm like, wait a minute, his name's not. Bob witnessed this last night when there was the first occurrence when I'm like, oh, it's just a nickname that he uses. Well, then I saw your Twitter profile that has your full name in it. I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, it must be his last name. That's fine. And then only last night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, Bob
Well,
and
it,
I are
it,
talking,
it
and
took
he's
you
like,
long.
you know that's not part of his name, right?
Well, now you do. I mean, as sometimes I get packages on my nickname, which is, you know, it's really hard when people don't know uh, like your nickname. If that stuff goes back to the post office and I need to take my ID and go there, no one's gonna give me that package.
Yeah, you did recently get a pretty big shipment of things, some of which you might have had to go and pick up at the post office, so that certainly would have been funny.
Yeah,
They're not stream
especially those
friendly, but
package. No, no, no.
if you
We're not.
hang out long enough, you'll figure out what it is. That's the community, right? That's all about the community. And so when you're not designing or 3D printing the geeky stuff, is it all Trailer Squad, or is there more that you do outside of work, if you will?
Well, I mean, I do a lot of work. I can't say that I'm working nonstop. Uh, I try to manage between 3 jobs that I currently have. I'm trying to relax more to do stuff with the family, and but it's like I'm always thinking about what to sculpt next, what to learn next.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's even a problem. Like yesterday I talked about that in
Yep.
Discord. Uh, at one point I opened like 3 different tutorials for 3 different things, and I was watching at the same time because I didn't know what to pick. Sometimes that's a problematic thing, but I like creating stuff. I enjoy that. I prepared the like part of the table for painting. I would really love to do that more. I didn't do that for probably a year.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't seen any painting streams or anything like that yet, so
no, no, because I swear a lot when I'm painting.
don't we all though,
Yeah.
right? I can only imagine people like Goobertown Hobbies, a big 3D printing tabletop YouTuber that paints. There's got to be lots of cuts in the cussing, right? Because how do you not mess up constantly? I shake too much, man. I couldn't do that stuff.
I mean, it's definitely better with practice, but I'm still learning how to paint stuff properly, and it's like trial and error nonstop. And sometimes I, I'm really happy what I did,
Mm-hmm.
but that idiot inside my head says, I just try to do more stuff, and then I
Yeah,
completely ruin it.
we
There's no undo button.
We are our own worst critics.
Oh yeah.
Especially, this is so common in any art related or art adjacent, because you are watching other people to learn, you're reading, you're learning, and you're seeing what you perceive as perfection. And because you don't have 30 years of doing nothing but that, getting to that point is tough. And
Yeah.
it is one of those, it is difficult to live up to your own expectations. How do you recommend people get started? Because obviously you took a path that I haven't seen many take, this whole started in Fusion and then went to ZBrush. A lot of people that I know in the industry, so we have a few ZBrush modelers that we work with, um, they all started in Blender. So
Well, Blender is one of the first options because it's a free
totally
software,
free.
and super powerful actually now.
Yeah, it's gotten much better.
It has a really great rendering. Sculpting is so much better, and like they have stuff that I would love to see in ZBrush,
Mm-hmm.
like some posing tools that they have. They are really great. Um, so I even recommend it. I say that I love using ZBrush. It's my go-to software, and that's probably not going to change for a long time. I mean, maybe now
I was gonna
because
say,
they,
what about with their new pricing scheme?
yeah,
How's that?
no, but it's a really great software, and Blender uh, works great because you can do, I would say, much more than you can do in ZBrush, um, because it's not just sculpting tool. It's more than that. Um, and there are like Nomad Sculpt that
Yeah.
people can use on iPad, and then my friend is learning that now, and it looks like a really great tool. But problem with most people is that they just give up.
Mm-hmm.
They try something, they don't want to invest time, and they give up. I rarely do that. When I pick something, I really try to learn that as much as possible, and it's like you need to tell yourself, is this something that you really wanna
Mm-hmm.
learn or not? It's easy to give up, especially if you don't get any feedback, anyone who will tell you that you're doing something good.
Right.
Like,
Right.
um, I remember with mini dudes, there were a lot of positive comments, but the moment when I thought that I'm actually doing something good was when Eastman called me. Actually, he sent me a message. I think it was on Twitter. Well, when he was still using Twitter a long time ago, and it was like out of the blue. He started giving compliments, and it was for my mini Spider-Man, and he was like uh, he was tell me how he think it's really cool how I can do with less things, how I can show the character, and it's one of those things where when one of those compliments that definitely boost you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you get the, well, when you get those, just you know take that as a motivation, and I did. So I started creating even more stuff, and uh I always do, like every time I'm sculpting them. Now I have a problem that I'm sculpting something and I will sculpt something at the same time, something different.
Okay.
You know, sometimes I even have different software open, so I want to do stuff at the same time. It's not a healthy thing, but what can I say? I mean, yeah,
Every
I grabbed the guitar like a year ago, and I was staying away from instruments my entire life, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna try to learn the guitar, and my finger don't work that well. I mean, I'm almost 41, and I can tell you that I mean, I have noticed that in games these days. If I try to do if I do like if I play any first person shooter, kids destroy me. they're so much faster
The
than
kids
I am
these
right
days are
now.
real good, and
Yeah.
you know what they're better at? They're better at shit talking, and it's really terrible. It's why I mute every player in games. Like, good lord, I'm like, God, that would hurt. Boy, that was just mean.
Yeah. So you know, like with the guitar, I spend a lot of time. Like I'm trying to play something every night, and at the beginning it was terrible. Then at point something clicks, and then you're like, okay, I know this thing is gonna be so much better. Then
Right.
again, you have bad days, but you know, if you have few bad days, and sometimes I did like I don't know, maybe I was just too tired, not focused. I was like, maybe I should really stop, you know. But then a few days later, everything is great. You again have a motivation. So I think that any kind of motivation is great to put, like, for you, like, to do more, to push you in the right direction.
Yeah. When you look back at the mini dudes, this is a question from Duff and one on my list, so this works out fine. What is your favorite model? And then what is your favorite mini dude?
Whew. Honestly, I don't know. My favorite model, maybe the next model. I don't know.
Why? Bob said that too. It's the next one. The next one is his
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah. I mean, I can't say that I like a lot of my models.
Mhm.
I connect some to some, like you connect stuff with some point in your life that, you know, maybe something else was good, so immediately that thing is good. Kind of like movies. You can watch a shitty movie on a really great day, and the movie is not gonna suck. It happened to me a few times. Uh, but no, I like I like this one,
Oh,
Magneto, a
that is
zombie
a good
one.
one.
Um, I don't know. I like the masks that I did. Uh,
We got votes in the comments for the mini Mad Monkey, the fretted Fred, the threaded Fred mini, and then RoboCop. Pokon says it's the Hellboy, and Fred then says, or the Saturday Night Fred. That is one of my
so
favorite masks you've ever done.
yeah,
That is
uh,
so good.
I really had a lot of fun making that. So this is probably one of the better ones.
It's one I want to print, but I want to time lapse it, and I know it's not going to look good time lapse because there's lots of little movements, and the camera's gonna be taking a lot of photos. It's not gonna. It'll require a lot of cleanup to do a
Yeah,
nice
it
time
has a lot of
lapse.
intersections. Uh,
That's
well,
some
who knows?
skill.
Maybe.
So how do you get yourself out of those ruts, right? A lot of artists and people in general are going to find themselves in a rut where they're either lacking motivation, lacking inspiration, they're feeling down on themselves. How do you get yourself kind of out of that, right? I mean, these past couple of years, mental health has been on the forefront of a lot of people's, mind of, all right, I now got to do more self-care than I used to. So how do you handle the God, I don't want to do this today. Maybe I don't want to do it
Um,
tomorrow. How do you get back on that horse?
well, the thing is that I love my job, and you know, sculpting now is one of my jobs. So I enjoy doing that, and like I said, I really want to learn more stuff. But yeah, definitely sometimes happens. It's like, oh, I really don't want to do this, and there are two possibilities for me.
Mm-hmm.
Either I'm gonna start, and then I'm gonna see that it's no big deal, that I actually enjoy it, or I'm gonna tell myself, you know what, it's okay not to do it today, because it's really okay. Like, no one's gonna, no one is waiting for me and like, you have to do it, you need to do it. No, like, I'm gonna do something when I want, and I'm gonna try to make it good, and I'm trying to make myself pleased with that. So, sometimes you cannot be creative 24/7.
It's a
You
good
can
piece of
try,
advice
but
right there, man. Those are words to live by.
and I mean, these days we are all chasing something. I know, followers, patrons. It's not good for anyone's health.
No,
Like
it's not.
it
It's tough not to chase, right?
I
But
mean, I was talking about that few weeks ago, I think. I had a goal to get 10,000 followers on Instagram, and then 10,000 happened, and it's like, okay, that happened. It's
yeah,
you're not really happy. It was just a stupid number. Then the number goes down because like Instagram, it can go like 20 up, 20 down, and for some reason I was like looking at that, and it was like, it was funny because it was, for me it wasn't, oh shit, I just lost, I'm again under 10k.
right.
For me it was like, so what, in a few days again
It'll
it's
be
gonna
back up
go
there.
up. I can tell you that that is happening now nonstop. It's actually really funny for me. Like if I was just chasing likes and something, I would be depressed about it.
It is true.
And
Beginner artists, and I mean even people that have been doing it for a while will still chase the dragon of that next financial goal, that next follower goal, that next
yeah,
patron goal. It is hard
no,
not to.
like mental health is really important, and I'm gonna keep this stream light. But last year I lost someone because of the mental health, so I think that also changed me a bit. Not to chase something that it's really not important. Like for me, the more important thing is that like after tough day, I can jump in Discord and chat with some people, and it's like my own private pub. People
That's a
jump
great way to
in,
describe
and
your
it's,
Discord. It really is like a
yeah,
freaking. It's a bar, and a few of the people are drinking, but the others are just there hanging out.
yeah, a few of them are drinking, but I don't know what the rest is using. So,
Yeah, I really wanted to do a talk with a psychologist or therapist for World Mental Health Day that happened a couple of months ago, and I could not get one to agree because there's some odd ethical things when you talk about what you do. I guess like as a psychologist, you can't really advertise because that's ethically odd. I don't know. Everyone that
yeah,
I contacted that I knew was like, "Yeah, no, we really can't do that." I said, "Well,
it makes sense when you think about it. So,
it does.
uh,
It really does." Uh, as Bob said, it's BYOB. Cheers. Bring your own Bob. Is that what it is? I will say having that community is really what's important. So if you are just getting started out there and you do have whatever struggles you have, try to find that community. That is so important. Like
I mean, our community was, before it was so much nicer. I mean, obviously, community is expanding, so every now and then you get some bad apples.
oh, it's like a
But
Banhammer store.
it's still a so much better community than any other that I was part of. The worst is definitely the one for like aquariums and and fishes and stuff. Those people are so evil. It's-
There are more than a couple aquariums in this house, so I know that industry. We do make some parts for that industry too. It is an odd one for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, there are some industries I'm like, I'm just not gonna socialize with this industry. It exists and I recognize it. I'm just gonna keep it to myself. Uh, what is?
Well, I was in a few groups, and I kept them for a while just to see how bad it can get, because um it's really bad. Like, and unfortunately sometimes I see that in our community there are new users. They want to learn something, and everyone is like acting like you should have learned that somewhere else. Like, why don't you know everything? Kind of attitude. Why are you so stupid? It's so bad sometimes. And unfortunately, I can't help those because I have no clue how printer operates.
Well,
I
see,
just print stuff.
that's what we're all here for. We talked about it a little bit before we got started, but your experience in 3D printing is just set it up, stock settings, click print, let it do its thing. And
Yeah,
I
that's
actually really
how.
like that, right? You're like, I'm specialized in something else. I need the printers to just work, which means you have Prusas. And that's what I
Yes.
like because
Uh,
they just
I mean,
work.
I really like when prints look nice. But I'm definitely I didn't learn a lot because I'm learning other stuff. I'm learning everything about sculpting and some other stuff. I really don't pay attention to printing because for me, I need to keep it stock. I don't want upgrades. I mean, I'm gonna do upgrades that will make something work better. Like the only upgrade I did, it was like uh, Jordan and Bob suggested some upgrades for MMU2
Mm-hmm.
because I had some bad experience with that, and definitely works better. But I mean, it works now, so it's great.
Right.
And for me, I keep everything stock and I'm using really basic settings from Prusa Slicer because when I do a model, I want to test it as as a noob to see what you can do, what kind of results you're gonna get. So that's my policy.
I have looked back at some of your older models, and I can definitely see where you had a shift for I'm going to look to make something that is both physically looks good, but is also a lot easier to print than it would
Hmm.
be if I made it as pretty as possible. And that is a whole different school of thought right there to think of, all right, not only do I have to make it look real and look correct, but now it also has to be easy because the last thing that you want is a bunch of people in your Discord being like, it doesn't print well. And you're like, well, maybe you just suck at printing.
Well, unfortunately, that stuff still happens.
That's true.
You know,
We
m- making stuff that doesn't work and it should. Uh, it happened to me a few times, and it's like one of the most annoying things. Like I said, in most cases, I print stuff before I release it to anyone.
right.
The, Nothing happens. Like it looks great, and then someone else prints the model and some different height, and there's some kind of error happening. And it's like, why didn't it happen to me? Like I did a model last year. It was Krampus. I did it. Uh, I did FDM and I
Mm-hmm.
did resin. I had zero mistake. And then I noticed a mistake on someone else's print when someone posted it on Instagram. And then I started panicking because it was like, you know,
Was it me? Was it me? Was it
20,
me?
20 hours after I posted it, like, and it's like, damn, it's my mistake. So now, you need to think like how many people had that thing happening. I mean, you never do that on purpose, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes with all of this rotating and figuring out stuff, some bad things happen. Like, in ZBrush you can use uh, normal, like you can use objects to like a boolean to make a hole for like I'm gonna make a base.
Right.
And in some cases, if you decimate something too hard, if you reduce the amount of polygons,
They won't fit.
it's gonna make it damage. And
Yep.
and it it didn't happen only to me; it happens to a lot of people. Uh, but you feel so bad because you released it, you didn't pay attention to that. Someone actually tried to print it, and after a few hours, he got something that he needs to cut and glue in a different way, and you're responsible to try to avoid it, but sometimes you just have a bad day.
It's true, right? That is 100% true. Sometimes the community can be your best friend or your worst enemy, because yeah, those little things you may not notice, somebody else will.
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh crap, I got to go back and fix it. It that can be a bit of a bummer. Where where are your kind of goals in terms of, like, what is your dream model? Like, if you had all the skills in the world, what would you be making?
Hmm. That's a really great question. Uh, I don't know, like something original. I mean, I'm still doing a lot of fan art, and
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes bugs me, because I would love to do something different, something more for myself that other people will like it. But that's kind of hard to level. You really uh, need to be careful about that because, like, for example, I have a lot of patrons that either like mini dudes or they like mask or they like something else, and I'm jumping between those. So it's a tricky thing when you're thinking from, let's say, a business point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, yeah.
But
From business
I
versus what you want, very going to be very different
yeah,
things.
but I still try to do all of that to kind of satisfy everyone. But also I want to do what I want to do. I will uh, read requests. Sometimes I'm gonna be inspired by that. Not always, unfortunately, because there's that point where you really feel that you need to do something. You're kind of forced, and again, it's not a bad thing, but in your mind, it's like it's a nightmare. And
Yeah.
I had situations where I really wanted to do something, and then someone suggested that, and I started freaking out. Like, why? Why did you have to say that model? I really wanted to make it,
And so,
but
like, now it's kind of ruined because somebody else
yeah,
requested it. And now you're not doing it for yourself anymore. So some of the fun is taken away.
yeah, but not always. I mean, in Discord, few times I got some suggestions. Like, for example, for a mini dude, uh, I did a like for CNC
Mm-hmm.
kitchen. I did mini Stefan, and I showed it to a few guys in Discord, and then I think Bob said, or Chief, I'm not sure, that now I could make a Bob Ross, just grab a hair,
Yep.
and while we were chatting, I actually did that model, and I like that mini dude. It turned out well.
He's on our main
Um,
set as well. The Bob Ross with the canvas and the little squirrel. Love the squirrel. Loved it.
Bob's
It was
idea.
so good. So good. I, it's those little details. I love it so much. I feel identical to you, where there are some videos that I really, really want to make, but then all of a sudden someone's starting to request it, and I'm like, okay,
Mm,
I guess I have to do it now as a business. There is that odd line between really wanting to do it personally and needing to do it for content. So
yeah,
I do appreciate that
but
delineation.
my problem also is that I would love to make everything.
Well, yeah.
Like you ask some for a specific model that right now I don't have any that would be like my dream thing, because like right now I'm thinking like I'm looking on the table and I'm thinking like, oh, I should do this, maybe I should do that. uh, it's like I really have a motivation to create a lot, and that kind of gets watered down when you actually start doing something, and then it's like, oh, this looks simple, and then you spend 6 days on that, and then you do something in a day, and it's so much better, but it's not planned. It's like I
I
just go
have
with the flow.
I have learned that anytime the word just is used in a request, I should
Yeah,
ignore it. Well, all you have to do is just this. Something tells me you may not understand how much work that
exactly.
is. The modifier of just seems to change things up. Now, this one, I don't know if we're gonna if you're going to want to talk about this one, but this is a question that I think is very poignant currently. What do you think of all the licensing issues on Prusa printers and people stealing your models and batch uploading them? Because we've seen this a few times where either it's you or Pokon will find them on Prusa printers. Hey, go report these guys, and we all go and we brigade report because they're violating massive terms here. How
Well,
do you feel about that?
to be fair, I mean, it it doesn't feel well, but uh, when we look what I'm doing, basically I'm not selling models. I'm doing, again, how I mentioned a bunch of times. I'm doing my own thing. I'm sculpting whatever I want, and that's what my patrons get.
Yep.
So they're paying for the support. They're not buying models from me, technically, but I still don't feel good about it. That's why, like, few of us have talked so many times about it, and that's why we would love to push eventually to something more original, or to be able to get some sort of licenses that will not destroy us. But that's kind of hard, and it's hard even to get proper information. And when someone else does it, my biggest concern is not that someone stole my model and trying to resell that. For me, the problem is that he's selling something that that could be a problem for me. Like, if someone grabs like Peacemaker bust and
Mm-hmm.
starts selling it everywhere, eventually someone will come to me as an original author, and I could have a problem. So I don't want to deal with that. Uh, a lot of people just don't know. They think whatever is on the website, it's free. But there's a decent amount of people who will actually put an effort and actually ask you for everything. Like the other day, I had one guy ask me, could I remove my license, change the license on Prusa printers so he can upload MMU version of one of my mini dudes. And uh, for me, it's tricky. Like, I looked at the model looks really nicely separated, and someone actually put effort into that. It's not just painted; it's
Right.
separated.
Right.
How can I say
The old
no?
school separation.
It's like, yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You put a lot of effort to do that.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's like, it really depends on the mood, and sometimes uh, dealing with these kind of people that are stealing from you, they just take the energy and take the motivation,
Yep.
and I'm trying to avoid that.
Some say imitation is the best form of flattery. I say, as an artist, in an industry like this, it's not. It is. It just makes you feel like you're doing all of this work for someone just to steal it, and
It,
it's not as fulfilling anymore.
it depends of recognition. Like,
That's fair.
if someone these days try to do some indie dude, I'm still getting messages from people like, can this person do that? And I click on the link, and someone tried to make a mini dude. He didn't even use my like base mesh or anything. He
Uh-huh.
actually tried to do that. And on my YouTube channel, I actually have tutorials how to make them. I was doing those during like live streams. So yeah, it's something that you know will not always turn out well, but
Yeah.
in some cases it's gonna be like, oh my, someone actually did it. Like, uh, sometimes when I was doing a project, one of my friends, he was googling me, and he found some people making a model of myself, and it's like, it's cute. It feels kind of weird because from my perspective, I'm nobody, but someone actually put an effort and did that thing, and it's adorable. You have to feel good about it, no matter how it looks.
That's true. Making mini dudes did get you kicked off of YouTube. Bob said
Uh,
making mini dudes got you kicked off of
yeah,
YouTube. That is true
yeah.
too.
Once, I mean, I understand why, because the shape
It is
of the
mildly
thing. I
phallic.
started. Oh, not mild. I even went up and down with it on the screen, so it really looked nasty.
I see that quite a few of the active patrons are in here saying that they don't pay for the models, they pay for to be your friend, and the only thing that we steal is your
Oh,
heart.
that's probably cheap, right?
Chief said the only thing I steal is
Uh,
Wex's heart. Like, yeah, well, that's not wrong. And Pokon says it wasn't his fault. It wasn't
yeah,
his fault this
it
time.
actually wasn't, and which is a really nice surprise,
Yeah,
because
it's true.
if I was ever afraid about being kicked out of the stream, it was when Poki was there.
So, no, that's true. So Gage Prower is asking, where is this Wex model? Because he wants to
Google
win
it.
it.
Just Google it.
Just Google it. Google the Wexter mini dude.
Yeah.
Apparently, oh, RoboCop. That's right, because there's a RoboCop model.
Oh yeah.
I know the RoboCop model.
I mean, should we say the actual name? No, I'm not gonna say it on the stream here.
And so have you lived in Croatia your entire life?
Yeah.
So you've obviously seen some things. You grew up during the war, right?
Yeah.
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 Has that kind of affected your outlook as to, what you do with your life just because of that whole experience?
Well, I mean, I was a kid, and for a kid, no, like you realize what is happening, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few situations where I really got afraid. Once I was alone in the house, and there was an attack. My mom was working. My father was with his unit, and we didn't have the basement, so I had to run in a abandoned house that had the basement, and I covered with under some stuff, and I spent there the entire night. And there are like few grenades that have fallen around the house. So it was for a child, it was a really scary thing. And but that wasn't that scary as the moment. Like my father had his own unit, and I spent a lot of time during war with these people, and at one point they had to go, and I haven't seen them for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know where my father is. Is he alive or not? Uh, so he came home. He picked me, and we went to to his unit, and these guys were completely changed. I can't like explain it, but the looks, the attitude, like they were dead inside, and that was the thing that freaked me out. Because like I remember those people, like we were watching Home Alone together. That was like first time that I've seen Home Alone. It was with those guys. They were trying to like teach me how to play like games, board games,
Mm-hmm.
like chess, that kind of stuff. And to see that they've changed it, it was like it's one of those things where when I rewind and think like war really sucks, like it changes a lot. um
That it does.
uh for some people, unfortunately, it was much worse.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't experience that many losses, so at the end it was kind of okay. But like few kilometers from our city, there were really some bad things that you know, happened. And war, it's a bad thing, no matter how you look at it. It's terrible. It affects everyone. And here in Croatia, there are a lot of people who are sometimes pretending that they're experiencing war as probably the best part of their life, kind of. They had a
Well,
purpose.
well,
Uh,
I mean, that's
like you can see that probably in every country.
yeah,
Uh, I
it's true.
I don't know, but some people just got stuck in that parts of the life, and that's everything for them. Like now, uh, war was in what 1991. Uh, Now it's 2022, and there are still coffee places opening, like pubs that have everything connected to war, and it freaks me out because it's like 500 meters away from me.
Yeah, and that's not that far. That's not that
Yeah,
far.
I mean, I really think that people should. Again, I'm trying to understand what some people went through and how they look at war and how they look at their enemies, but you know. Um, I cannot hate anyone. Life is too short to hate people,
It's true.
first of all. And something that happened in war, that like people were surviving on both sides.
Yeah,
Whoever started war, it's a different thing. But it's like you cannot look at one nation and hate it just because of that. Again, it's not a healthy way of thinking and looking at life, uh
it's very true.
and so even in my Discord, you can do whatever. We can make fun about everything, and um, like I really allow a lot of different types of humor. Everything is fine,
This is
but
true.
but the line, like no one can cross the line where they are just um how to say it. It's like there are some lines that you cannot cross, and hateful speech is one of those.
It's
I
true.
don't allow that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's a hard stop in most communities,
yeah,
thankfully.
so and luckily I never had that in my Discord. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I said it now, so probably a few of these
now they're just
people.
gonna do it. Now they're just gonna do it to test you. Poke
Yeah.
on. I'm looking at very specific people here. Um, you know, something that I was told that it is incredibly common in Croatia to have like a room or a building dedicated to uh, cooking, specifically smoking meat. And I'm told that you might be on a first name basis with your local fire department. Do you want to talk about that one?
Well, stuff happens. I I I was as a kid. I spend time around weapon, and I uh I was always next to dangerous stuff, and I loved firecrackers and the lighting matches like every kid probably, but I never imagined myself like, you know what, I'm gonna start a fire, like something that will block the entire street, that there will be so many uh, like cars and trucks and whatever here, and it happened like I think 4 or 5 months after I moved in here.
Oh
So
gosh.
immediately I'm a troublemaker, but it was a really bad mistake that I did, and luckily nothing else happened. But my mom is really great woman, but sometimes she's a dick. One day she
Your mom's
calls
not
me
watching
and
this, is she?
no, she wouldn't even understand, like she doesn't know English.
Ah,
She calls me one Sunday and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, nothing. We just had lunch and relaxing, watching TV." And she's like, "Well, I've heard sirens, so I just wanted to check is everything okay."
this my mom does something similar, but it's not for me. My girlfriend Amber. has a history of breaking glass. Like she's broken a lot of glass. And my mom gave me a set of hand-me-down glasses. And in it was one plastic tumbler and a sticky note that said "for Amber." and see, I don't know if Amber's fallen into the joke more, but she picked up stained glass as a hobby. You know,
Yeah,
a
I know.
hobby
I've seen it.
that relies on breaking glass. I said, so well, hey, at least you're
Well,
going to
I
you
mean
know.
that's almost like Batman. You know how he was afraid and of bats, and then he turned into something that he was afraid of. So glass now defines her, kind of. See,
Yeah.
well, at one point, Fodis and I talked about making our own superheroes. So maybe Amber will be some kind of origin story of one of the characters.
I mean, Amber is my superhero. She's a freaking nurse, but
Yeah, I know.
what would a Wekster or Ved? I never know if I should be calling you Wekster or Vedran. I have you named as Wekster
Well,
on the backdrop, but I never know what's
whatever
more
doesn't
appropriate.
break your tongue, call me like that.
That's fair. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing Vedran correctly because it's more of a W than it is a V. Correct?
It's from like think about us as Russians when it comes to language. So it's like
it's
it's like
Vedran.
that hard. It's hard R, so it's Vedran.
Gotcha. Okay, Vedran. What would your
Let's
superhero?
say that.
Was I okay on that? Was I all right?
Well, it's so much better than some other people that are trying to pronounce my name.
Vedran? What's this Vedran character? So
What would
I feel
what
like
would be my superpower, huh?
what would be your superpower? I want to know what you if I feel like this would be a really funny collab for you and Fotis. You guys make your own superheroes and then the supervillain for each other.
Hmm. I mean, for me, it would have to be something connected to food because I love eating.
It's yes. And
Yeah.
Croatian food is really good.
I mean, Fotis looks like he likes eating.
So it's well, okay. Your what is it? Your kryptonite is gluttony. Okay, we got that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm now on some sort of diet, so Mr. Diet Man would be my nemesis.
Jeez.
That would be so weird.
I think that would
I
be
would
fun.
probably found some people who will appreciate that and love the comic book or something.
I will say I love the work that you do, and becoming a part of the community has really reinvigorated me to learn 3D modeling. Maybe not so much on the sculpting side, because like learning ZBrush, for those that don't know, and for most CAD programs, it is effectively a vertical cliff. Learning ZBrush is the Sisyphus school of 3D modeling. Sisyphus is the guy that rolls the rock.
I know.
Some people don't know that. I'm making sure that the people that are listening understand that. All right, you're generally smarter than the average bear. All right, but yeah, the guy that's infinitely pushing the rock up the hill that never ends. ZBrush was like that for me. I spent a couple of months trying to learn it, while our lead ZBrush artist, which is actually one of the founders of the company, was watching over my shoulder like, dude, you suck at this. I had a Cintiq for a while.
Practice makes masters.
It's true. So does time. Time is a big thing. How do you juggle the it is Trailer Squad the day job? Is that what Trailer Squad is, or is?
Well, technically, I work with a lot of clients that are in different time zones, so it's mostly night job.
Okay.
I'm managing time. Like you cannot do everything.
It's true.
You just need to adjust like what's important and try to finish that. And also sometimes you need to sacrifice something. Um, I was watching a lot of TV shows,
Mm-hmm.
like 10, 12 different shows per week. It was insane. And when I started doing like 3D printing and sculpting and all of that, I just started watching all of that, stopped watching all of that because this was more important.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Set those priorities.
it's a good thing because I also filtered something. I went back to only a few things that I really wanted to see. So other stuff at one point you really think that you need to watch those to see what will happen, like how story goes. But then you realize that you were just watching it because you didn't have better stuff to do, and now I do. So I'm trying to manage my time like that. If I jump into Discord, I know that I will do nothing. I will just talk with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot focus on anything then.
I have seen that, like when you're just hanging out in there alone, you're sharing your screen, we'll hop in. Immediately we're like now watching YouTube videos, we're talking about random stuff. No work is getting done, but there are times where that break, that mental health hour or two provides so much more value than the time you're going to have to make up. So there
Yeah,
is definitely some value there.
I've learned early when I started working that just jumping into stuff and just trying to work doesn't really always work.
Right.
To be fair, I was still smoking at the time, and I was using smoking breaks as excuse. But also it was a great thing because every time I moved to light a cigarette, I was still thinking about the work, and then I could actually, because I just moved from that, I could see much clearer, and then I figured out like easier way to do something, because just watching at the screen didn't, like, it just didn't go anywhere. And so in a lot of cases I just think a lot before I just jump into something. And I think you try to ask me about the mini dudes, how I do some stuff. uh, Sometimes I watch something, and then like I can see what I should sculpt before I even start. um, that's something that helped me, like when you're doing like superhero, it's really easy. They have recognizable features, everything is great. But when I was making mini dudes for some of people in my Discord, it was really hard, like, because every time we talked I wasn't paying attention of that. But then when someone mentioned, okay, I would we should consider making him as a mini dude, and you start looking in a completely different way. And I mean, sometimes it takes really long time to figure out what you should do. Sometimes you just see people as mini dudes. uh that was that was like when I went for, like, I had the first job interview. I showed up with my drawings, and while I did like stuff for like design. First of all, guy didn't even know that I'm gonna show up, because that, like, my old professor tried to arrange like that meeting, but he never told to the guy actually that I'm gonna show up. So I came there out of nowhere, and then he started looking at all the stuff I did. And we went to grab a drink, and he was shitting on my work for an hour, I think, on
Those people kind of
every
suck.
listen, on everything that I showed. He was shitting so hard, but at the same time it was great, because it was constructive.
That's
It was
fair.
bad,
That's fair.
but it was really constructive. And after he said all of that, he was telling me, like, what I should pay attention, that actually never did, because I was learning everything on my own. And he tried to tell, like, he was explaining me through a skeleton how everything works in a human body, and like how he was because he was drawing comic books, and for a week I was looking at people as skeletons. Like, I couldn't see people, I was just seeing like what skeleton does. And it's like it's a really cool exercise, uh trying to figure out what makes person, like what how they move, what skeleton does inside,
Mhm.
where's the balance, how we are standing. You're all mostly standing on one leg, and what opposite shoulder does, and all of that. And it's like really cool. So with mini dudes, I try to apply something similar. I try to focus on less features, but most important ones. And sometimes it still takes a lot of time. uh, I started doing mini Witcher, and for some reason, like, Henry has so many recognizable features on his face. For some
Yeah.
reason, I cannot figure them out still. And I did a bust of him,
Yep.
so I should be able to do it, but it's not working.
No.
I mean, eventually I'm gonna do something, but I need to stop thinking about it. So maybe in this case, it's gonna be better, because the other version that I'm usually applying doesn't work at the moment.
Y- y-
Sometimes you need to do the opposite of whatever you say. You know,
That
figure out.
that's true. That is very, very fair. And looking back at your journey, you have made a lot of decisions that have brought you to where you are today, with the crazy group of people that you hang out with, the amazing models that you make, and a community that you have brought to be not only camaraderie, but camaraderie around memes, which I think is hilarious. I can always go look at the Spam the Shit Out of Me channel for a good laugh, basically any
Yeah.
day, right? What would you can look back at all the decisions that you've made. If you had the ability to go back and redo it, would you change anything?
No,
No?
no, because you never know what that change would do. And currently, I'm really happy with my life. Yeah. So I, I'm I'm getting more excited about the stuff that I will learn eventually than trying to change something before. It's like, it's not worth it. Uh,
It's fair.
you should enjoy in decisions you've made, and change your mistakes in the future, not trying to change them in the past. That's my way of thinking. I mean, unless you have a DeLorean, then oof, that would be so cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
that would.
I love DeLorean. I have like 5 different Mandalorian
They're absolutely
like toy
terrible
cars.
cars. They just look
I
really
know,
cool. Okay.
I
Yeah,
know.
they're terrible cars.
Someone is now making electrical version.
I saw that. I want one really badly. Then I remember that it's been rough financially the past few years, so not gonna do it. We'll 3D print one, and we'll do like an open RC, uh, an open RC DeLorean with functional gull wing doors. Because
I
honestly,
mean,
what's the point?
DeLorean is still the best movie car for me. I don't think there's a better one. I like the Ecto one,
Yeah.
and of course, Batmobile from '90s. Those are my top three probably. Oh, you know what? Jeep from Jurassic Park.
I have a
Those
buddy
those
who
four.
who has an old Jeep that did it up like Jurassic Park. It's good. It's real
I
good.
mean, everything connected to Jurassic Park is a great thing.
Wait, do we have Jurassic Park mini dudes?
No, no. Uh, I was thinking about that a few times, but no. I was thinking about Malcolm to make him in that leaning pose when he's on the table.
If there's a mini dude to make in a pose, that's the one.
Yeah,
In my humble opinion.
Jeff Goldblum is my hero.
I mean, yes. Does it get better? I mean, that is the pinnacle of man.
Oh, there's a like show. There's a documentary according to Jeff Goldblum. It's really good.
Oh no. I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
it's really good.
Well, I know
That's,
it's getting close to midnight for you,
yeah.
and I don't want to keep you here too long. But to finish it out, people that are looking to get started, other than just do it, right? Let's move past the
Just do it.
Shia LaBeouf
Yeah.
memes. I was getting to it. Other than the Shia LaBeouf memes, what are some tips and tricks that you can give people that want to become not just 3D modelers, but specifically creators on Patreon? Because that's a whole different bag of chips, dude.
Well, I would say that you know, um, I would love to say that talent is the only thing, but it's not. There are so many talented sculptors that didn't succeed on Patreon because they didn't had anyone to appreciate their work in our community. I I and bunch of other patrons that we had some sort of luck, I would say. We were recognized at some point by someone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, it was Preston, Press Reset,
Oh yeah.
and Joel, and that's when my patrons started moving. So you know that was lucky moment, and then I tried to push forward and do more, and I started doing mini dudes that are kind of collectibles. So I I I was leaning on that to be a successful thing, and that kind of works for me. But like for everyone who wants to do something, first thing is you shouldn't give up, because uh, like you cannot rely on success stories. There are so many success stories, and then it's always like, "Ooh, I want to be like that." Sure, it's great, but some of these people just were at the right time somewhere. Some recognize them. Uh, they made one hit thing, but there are so many who didn't succeed, and you need to find your goal and push towards that. So uh, you need to have realistic expectations. I remember when Fotis Eastman and I talked a long time ago about our goals in Patreon. We passed them a long time ago, but it was a small goal, and it was one that satisfied us, and then you make another one that again it's realistic, and another one, and that's how it goes. If you're trying to like immediately expecting that you're gonna be rich because of one thing that you're gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
forget about it. It doesn't work like that.
It's true.
You need to know people. You need to care about those people. I i i try to care about my patrons. I hope that they get how much stuff I'm trying to do for them. uh it's like, you know we talked about a lot about me, about my Discord, but without people that are supporting me, I wouldn't be anyone.
It's true.
So you know like all of these people, like I always get emotional because for me this whole thing is still a surprise. I really I really feel that I'm happy because of the support I have, and that's the great motivation for those who want to sculpt something. There are a bunch of great tutorials on YouTube. Uh, I created few of those. I created some for ZBrush, and um, I mean, I made it so from a point of total noob, because I learned basics and I wanted to share that information, and like it has 500,000 views, and really a lot of positive comments that I helped them with basics. So I would say that that's one of the places that they could check first if they want to learn ZBrush. Uh, for everything else, there's like flip normals, and
Yeah.
I Pavlovich. They're really amazing people out there. They just need to Google and find some. But
That's
but
fair.
yeah, never don't give up, and practice every day.
Yep.
There will be bad moments, there will be great ones, and uh, listen to feedback and filter feedback, because some people will just be rude, and you will not get anything out of it, and some will be like my first boss that shit on my work, taught me something, and then hired me.
It's fair. Did they negotiate the wage after they shit on you and before, before anything?
It was great, like how he that conversation, entire conversation was so great. Like I really learned a lot, and I even forgot why I was there. That I'm applying for a job, and then he was like, "Come tomorrow at 8." What? You're hired. Okay.
You just said all these, you bastard.
Well, like if he gave me all of that, and I got really pissed, like he would give up, I would get the job. So it was a good thing for both of us.
It's
But
true.
yeah, sometimes people will just say nasty stuff, and you need to filter that, who is trying to hurt you, who doesn't care about anything, because like you, unfortunately those comments always hurt, but
Dude, they suck.
if you don't benefit from any comment, it's pointless. Like when I'm doing trailers, I'm focused on something, and sometimes you don't see a bigger picture, because sometimes you don't have a luxury of creating something and moving away from it, and then just coming back after a day to see
Right.
where are your mistakes. So usually I do something, I send it to a few people, and that first response that they have, and what was wrong, that's the parts that you need to focus on, because those are the things that someone else will notice that you haven't, and you need to listen to that. But sometimes there's a part where you say, okay, I understand that, but there's a reason why I couldn't do that, unfortunately. Maybe I didn't have enough proper footage, but maybe it's something else. But then it's like, will you change that into something else, because obviously it doesn't work. There are so many things you just need to, like, that's what makes you better. Like, you pick something, you learn something out of it, and like, we do that shit every day. Every
Yeah.
day you learn something new that you can apply, and it's immediately so much better.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much for spending some
Thank
time
you.
late at night hanging out. Um, anything you want to say before we close it?
Um, Nothing special. Be nice to each other.
Dude, that's so
and
true.
and I like to say that, just do something creative in your life. Stay creative. That's the best thing.
Yeah,
Do something
always
that you
always
love.
stay creative. And of
Yeah.
course, if you I feel like everyone that's here is already a patron of yours, but if they're not, they need to fix that. Get on that list, cuz if you're sleeping on Wekster right now, you're screwing yourself, because you're missing out on some really great models, some really funny ones, and just really really high quality shit. Seriously, if you love film and cinema, go take a look at the Trailer Squad. Seeing I don't know if the shotgun. I don't know if I could talk about that one. I don't know if I'm supposed to know about that or not. But boy, that was so cool to learn about that. And just like to understand and to see how all this is occurring and what it looks like when it's totally done. It is a lot of fun to know the man behind the tablet and understand him and have a
Uh,
glimpse into your life. Like
Well, I have a feeling that I need to explain the shotgun thing right now because some people will think something cool off because they don't know what are you talking about. But like even for me, it was like what shotgun? But I guess you're talking about the ad that we just did, the
yes, the
sport
ad.
ad, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the
And
sports ad.
I really try to be careful about it because we are talking about the sport ad that me and my friend directed. We had 10 different sports that we needed to squeeze in one 45-second ad, and we had a guy who is shooting. He's doing I don't know what's in English, skeet.
Skeet shooting. Yep.
The Yeah,
Clay targets, clay
pigeon.
pigeons,
Yeah,
disc
yeah.
with clay, you shoot with a shotgun.
And at one point we talked that maybe he will actually have blanks because we did a lot of stuff in slow motion, and it needs to be real, but I was constantly freaking out because of the safety, and at one point they said that they will not use blanks, that we need to figure out something else, which for me it's much better because like I said, I was raised with weapon. My father uh, had a lot of guns, and he was doing that stuff professional. He was also like uh, in skeet shooting. He was one of the judges
Oh,
in
okay.
one bigger
Yeah.
competition. So I was always taught about safety. And for me, this was like you never should point barrel towards someone or something like that. But we needed to have smoke in the barrel because when you shoot and when you open like the barrel, it the mechanism ejects the shell and there's a smoke.
Yep.
So we were trying to figure out how to do that. And there's one of the guys that work in our company. He likes to go outside, like just disappear so he can get the smoke. And like maybe we should just blow some of that smoke in a barrel and see how it's gonna look. And it's like Elmer Fudd's Bugs Bunny situation,
Yep.
but uh, I was still nervous after I checked the weapon. I don't know how many times. Like weapon didn't move from the person, but I still was nervous. What's gonna happen there?
Yep.
And the guy with the cigarette, he was so happy that he can finally do something that like he was training his entire life.
He
Like,
was looking for an excuse to justify the smoking, right?
yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for inviting me. It was really really fun. I was afraid that I'm gonna be tired because I didn't have my afternoon nap.
You didn't have
You
your
know,
beauty sleep.
I'm
I understand.
close to. Hey, yeah, it was really fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you know? I doubt you know my outro. Do you know my outro?
No, I never stay that long because you have like streams for 4 hours. So
We don't. Okay, but it's the same outro on all the videos. It's not just on the streams. Give me some credit here. I
I'm
know
sorry.
people can only deal with me so long. I get it. I get it.
Well, to be fair, you didn't even know what was my last name until yesterday. Ooh.
In my personal defense, it's set up on all of your profiles, including your Facebook page. That Wekster is your last name. So I've never thought to ask.
Okay. Stuff happens.
But see, everybody learned something today.
Yeah.
Because
Now
technically I learned it way earlier today.
see now I'm gonna finally learn your outro. So let's do that.
Anyways, guys, stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making Awesome. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Go subscribe to Wekster's Patreon, leave a like on the video, and subscribe, and do all the things I'm supposed to say. See you guys.